So you're ready to buy a home. You're excited, you're looking at listings, and then your agent hands you this big legal document and says you have to sign it before you can even go see any houses. It's called a buyer broker agreement. And yeah, it can feel like a huge, confusing roadblock. But what if it's actually the very thing that protects you the most? Let's break it all down.
This is the number one question home buyers have right now. Why on earth do I have to sign a formal contract just to walk through a few properties? It feels totally new, kind of weird, and honestly, it's causing a lot of stress. But there is a really, really good reason for it, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. I promise.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why this is suddenly a requirement. Then, and this is the most important part, we'll cover the huge difference between being a customer and a client. After that, we'll follow the money, how your agent actually gets paid. We'll even tackle the big what if, like what happens when a seller refuses to pay. And finally, we'll glance at the fine print so you know exactly what you're signing.
Okay, let's dive into the why. Why is this agreement all of a sudden a standard part of buying a house? Well, it's not just some random new rule your agent made up. It's actually a massive shift in the real estate industry, and it's designed to protect you.
So, what is this thing really? Think of it this way. A buyer-broker agreement is basically an official we're on the same team contract. It formally says you're my agent and you are working for me, the buyer. And that changes everything because it legally obligates your agent to fight for your best interests, not the seller's. And this isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a new rule from the National Association of Realtors. Without this signed agreement, an agent's hands are pretty much tied. Legally, they can't schedule a bunch of showings, they can't negotiate for you, and they definitely can't give you any real in-depth advice. They're basically just there to open the door for you. That's it. And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important shift in this whole conversation, the difference between being a customer and becoming a client. This might sound like just words, but trust me, it's a total game changer. Okay, you really need to see this. On the left, without an agreement, you're considered just a customer. This means that the agent showing you homes is technically working for the seller. Their legal duty is to get the best deal for the person selling the house. And get this, anything you tell them, like your top budget or how much you love the house, isn't confidential. They could use it in the seller's favor. But now look at the right. Once you sign that agreement, you become a client. Now that agent is your advocate. They are legally bound to represent your best interests, and everything you discuss is completely confidential. It's a massive difference. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, the money. This is the part that makes everyone a little nervous, right? How does my agent get paid? Am I going to be stuck with a huge bill? Let's clear this up, because the good news is it's way less scary than it sounds. So, this almost always plays out in one of two ways. In the most common scenario, the seller offers to pay your agent's commission right from their proceeds. You'll know this amount right up front, no surprises. But what if they don't offer it? No big deal. In that case, we simply write the fee into your offer and negotiate for the seller to cover it. It's a totally standard part of the process. But okay, let's talk about that nagging what-if scenario. What if the seller just flat out says, nope, not paying it? This is the fear that keeps some buyers up at night, so let's tackle it head on. The reality is you have options, and you're always in control. So what really happens if a seller digs in their heels and just refuses to pay your agent's fee? First of all, it's pretty rare. But if it does happen, the most important thing to know is that you will know about this before you even make an offer. You're never going to be blindsided by a surprise fee. Because there are no surprises, you and your agent can just get creative. For example, you could simply lower your offer price on the house to free up cash for the fee. Or you can ask the seller for a credit towards your closing costs. It's all just about moving numbers around to make it work. Again, you'll never be hit with an unexpected bill at the end. And here's the funny part. One agent I was talking to put it perfectly. He said, funny, because even when they refuse to pay the commission directly, they're still paying it. They just end up giving a credit at closing, which is basically the same thing. It's just a little bit of accounting gymnastics. So let me just say this loud and clear to put your mind at ease. The bottom line is this. The vast, vast majority of homebuyers do not pay their agent's commission out of their own pocket. It's almost always worked into the deal. So you can take a deep breath. Okay, now that we've cleared up the whole money thing, let's just quickly touch on a few other key details in the agreement. And you'll see, these are things that are actually there to protect you. The agreement will specify a length of time, usually around a year, so you're not locked in forever. But here's the absolute best part.
Your agent only gets paid if and when you successfully close on a home. If you look for 6 months and decide buying isn't for you, guess what? You don't owe them a dime. No purchase means no pay. It's as simple as that.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, this agreement isn't some scary obstacle. It's your shield. It gives you total clarity on how everyone gets paid. It guarantees your confidentiality. It ensures you have a true advocate on your side. And it gives you a powerful layer of protection for what is probably the biggest investment of your life. So I'll just leave you with this question. Is this agreement a barrier designed to trap you? Or is it your single best form of protection in a really complex process? I think after all this, the answer is pretty clear.